Hi there everyone, welcome back. In this video, what we are going to try to do is do a full-scale project or an internship project that is given by KPMG. Now, if you don't know who KPMG are, let's just go to Google and KPMG. So as you can see, it's a professional service network, multinational company, and as far as I know, that it was mostly associated with audit, tax, and advisory services. So, and it was founded. I don't know how old is this company, but it has a good turnover. But I think that's all I wanted to know about this company. So let's go back to the main page. So here I am on the main page of the KPMG internship, and what we are looking at is task 1, data quality assessment. So as we can see, there are few steps that we'll be going through, and let me just play this video because this is the instruction. And let's say this person is a KPMG manager or a stakeholder for this project, and let's try to know what instructions are they supposed to give us.
Hi, welcome to KPMG Data Analytics Consulting Team, and we have an exciting new project for you to start off. We've started working with a new client who are a mid-sized company selling bicycles and accessories. They're looking to expand into a new market, and we will be assisting them by showcasing our data analytics skills to recommend a suitable marketing strategy. Over the course of the client project, there will be tasks involved. The first one being a data quality assessment, the second being a data model build, and the third to visualize these results of analysis which we can present to the client. Now that you've gone to the project, let's get started with the first task, which is a data quality assessment.
So I think the first task here is the data quality assessment. And if I go towards the background of the task, it says that Sprocket Central Private, I don't know, it's a private limited, is a medium-sized bikes and cycling accessories organization, has approached Tony Smith, who is a partner in KPMG's Lighthouse and Innovation team. Sprocket Central Private Limited is keen to learn more about KPMG's expertise in analytics. Okay. Smith discusses KPMG's expertise in this space. You can read more here, and that's all the KPMG thing. Then what they are looking here is that they want the help with its customer and transactions data. The organization has a large data set relating to its customers, but their team is unsure how to effectively analyze it to help optimize its marketing strategy. So this is a very important one. Basically, they are looking for a good marketing strategy. In the end, they want to have good sales of their bikes or their accessories, right? So that would be our ultimate agenda. But for this task, which is the task 1, along the whole internship timeline, what we are supposed to do is we'll have 3 data sets: customer demographics, customer addresses, transaction data, and then we are supposed to do data cleaning or data wrangling. I mean, we are supposed to find the anomalies in the data set. If we have any issues, then we'll have to just email it to I think we are emailing it to a person, and possibly it's going to be our manager. So I'll read out the instructions over here. As per the email, please find 3 datasets attached from this company, and can you please review the data quality to ensure that it is ready for an analysis. And then what they are asking is to do is remember to take notes of any assumptions or issues we need to go back to the client on. So right now what she says is they have attached a framework as a guideline. So if we go down, this is okay. So here's the main task. It says that draft an email to the client identifying the data quality issues and strategies to mitigate these issues, right? Refer to data quality framework table and resources below for criteria and dimensions which we should consider, right? So we will quality framework table that they have provided to us. What it says is standard data quality dimensions. So we are supposed to look for accuracy, we are supposed to look for completeness, consistency, currency, relevancy, validity, and uniqueness, right? Now what I'm going to do is download this data file. Here I have opened up the Jupyter lab. We are going to make a new file, and the overall analysis that we are going to do will be on using Python. So we'll create a Python notebook and just name this something relatable, like Sprocket, because the company name is Sprocket. We are going to do Sprocket um, analysis, right? So we'll just name something like that, and then we'll start with the heading, obviously, and say Sprocket analysis, right? I mean, in this case, what we are just generally doing is simply trying to find issues with the data that we have so that we can tell our partners on the other side, okay, this is the anomalies that we have found, and maybe on the next time the data quality is something to be looked at before sending over the files. So I'm going to import some of the necessary libraries or packages. Import pandas, of course, spd. Import, I don't know if numpy will be required here, but let's just say numpy is required. And then some of the visualization library like matplotlib, pyplot as we'll also do seaborn, just in case if you want to have some seaborn figures. One more thing that I like to do is get OS package, OS library, just because that I can get the current working directory. So let's say the current working directory cwd is going to be os.get cwd. Now once we have got the current working directory, we'll try to define our data frame, and we'll say pd.read excel, because this is going to be an excel file. We have the file in the current directory, so we can just add the name of the file. And I think that's all, and then we'll just run the first 5 lines, and as we can see that the data is not, like, this is not the correct data that we are looking at. Now this could be the case if there are multiple tabs in it, probably. So let's try to open up the file. All right, so here we have the file opened, and okay, so yeah, there are definitely tabs in here. We see transaction, new customer list, customer demographics data, and customer address. Now when it comes to using different sheet, I really don't know what is the exact let's say we are looking at pandas data frame, we read excel with multiple sheets. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking at. So if I go to the Stack Overflow, okay, so we can give a sheet name, and that should do when we are reading the data frame. So here what I'd like to do is I'm going to say transactions. Let me just cross check that. Okay, so it is transactions, and I'm going to name I'm going to say df trans. That should be good. So it has completed, and if we look at this, I'm still finding some issues. Now we can see that the column here is um, taken as the first row, and which is just nothing but a note here. In order to tackle that problem, what we can do is index call we can do is 1, so that it starts to read the column from here. Sorry, I have to do header as well, not the index column. Index is going to be what basically they are going to do is like the zeros column. That's going to be index for here, the numbers column. But if you want to change something, you like the header, then we'll just choose the header and the number that it corresponds to. So the 0th number row is going to be this, and the first row is going to be the actual headers. So let's try to run that code. Okay, so now if I try to run this code, we can clearly see that the headers are completely uh, assigned to the data. And then what we'll try to do is see the size of the data. So we have 20,000 rows and 13 columns. Let's check the number of transaction IDs, and I think it should be same as to the index. So if it is the case, then we can just have transaction ID as the index, and the product ID is going to be repeated number of times, and we know also the customer ID, right? But before we do anything of those, I just forgot, we should check about the completeness of the data. So in order to do that, and we will check, we will just get the info, like a basic info about the whole data frame. So to do that, we'll just do trans and info. It seems that except from the first 4 columns, rest all the columns have some missing, no sorry, 5 columns or 6, so there are some missing values in there, and there seems to be a pattern over there. So if you can see that the number of missing values is kind of same, so we have 19803, which is non-null, so the rest of them out of 20,000 will be missing values. We can do df trans not duplicated value counts. We can try to go through each column one by one, and we'll try to see if we find any issues with each column, right? As far as transaction ID is concerned, I think it's going to be same as the number of indexes. We can check on the product IDs, and we can check on the value counts. So product ID, so it seems there are almost 101 products. different products, and we do have value counts for them. And one thing that I forgot to add, and we should check it earlier before checking this numericals and categorical labels or values, is that we need to see the data types of each of this column just to be sure that they are correct. So we'll add that. We'll see the data types, and well, the data types of my bad, the data types are already here. We have checked that with the info itself. So transaction ID is integer, product ID integer, this is integer, transaction date, which is date time, so that is good. Online order, I don't know what online order is. Accounting too, so there is either it is 0 or either it is 1, so I think it is a numerical integer value, but somehow it is float over here, but it should not be a big of a concern. We'll just leave that as it is. Order status is object, brand is object, till product line, class and size. So we have order status, brand, product line, product class, size, list. Product size is all categorical. So we have object over there, which are strings. So list price, standard cost, and product first sold date. Now, shouldn't this be a date, because it says product first sold date? I mean, the time when the product, or the date when the product was first sold, right? So it could be that. I don't know. I'm just making guesses here right now. But as from the data types, as from that perspective of data types, these are all okay. We don't need to change any data type. So we'll just move forward with checking on each columns then. Next, we'll go and see the column customer ID and see how many customers do we have. My bad. So we have almost 3494 customers, and there would be repeated orders in there. I need to import the date time as dt so that I can access the year. So now when I do this value counts, it gives me this data is only from year 2017, and then if I click on month, now since we have checked that and all these seems to be in line and fitting, check for the brand. I'm just gonna do a quick shortcut here because I don't want to spend more time on this. And if I do sum, it shows me that it's 19803, which means there are few missing values. And if I do is null, and it shows me false because I'm just getting the values with the value counts, right? So we have got Solex, Giant, bicycles, and all these different product names. Okay, so product lines are also good. Then I think we are just left with product class, size, and list price. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use in the same label here, and In the product class, we have medium, high, and low, and there are three different classes. So let's go back and see the product size. Sorry, it didn't copy correctly. So in the size, we have medium, large, and small. In terms of the name of these classes or sizes, there is no discrepancy as far as I can see. So let's say the max is this one, minimum is $12. Then we check the mean. The mean is around 1107. Okay, what I like to do here is also plot hist and okay, this doesn't appear to be normal at all, but let's try to put some beans in there. Bean size maybe 20, and doesn't show any normal distribution characteristics. It appears. Now the last column that is remaining is the standard cost. Df trans dot how to the max, first of all, just to make sure. So we have 17.50, minimum is $7. Okay, and then we have mean is around 556. The mean is very closer towards the lesser price, which means that most of these products having standard cost which is very less, maybe below the $1,000, because we have seen the max price is 1700. But the mean is still very closer towards the $7 price, like the minimum one. So if you plot the histogram plot, and let's say mean is equals to 15, we get something like this, which was I was trying to say, that the mean, which is 500, is kind of very approximately 500, which is kind of very close towards the left hand side. So this is rightly skewed distribution plot, which is not again a normal distribution. Show that, let's say 507 is very close to here somewhere, right? So this would be our median, and then we have mean, which is 556 would be, so this is like 600, maybe over here somewhere. Okay, or maybe even this part, but so nearly, so these both are very close, so nearly around that. So 556 and a mean and median being 507. Half of the data, lies in this area. This is my half of the data, and we see that the prices are, the prices are staying between 550 to 1000. That's where the highest amount of the prices we are able to see after the median. So median indicates that the data is divided over at this price at 507, and then the another half, which is on the left side, has all the low prices, right, below 500. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to do some we'll create a sticky note, or we'll just note down this points somewhere, so that we are sure. Sorry, okay, I'm just going to create a new one and just close this one. Okay, let's say give the title task 1 notes, right? So here I would say the first one is there are missing values, and the second point is going to be uh, the product sold product first sold date. First sold date is not a date but some numbers. All right, so for the class we have medium, high and low, right? And then for the size we have medium, large and small. So size, which does make sense, so we size could be in this categories. However, the class I have to see, let's go back to the top. The product line is standard and others, and then we have product class. It's important to know whether it refers to uh, a range of prices, or because size, like, it is very easy to you know it's very easy to understand from that, but with the product class, which is kind of difficult. Okay. Anyways, but these are only the issues, and we're going to go in for the next file and try to find out any anomalies in those files as well. Now I can just duplicate this file. So if I duplicate it, I'll have to just rename it, and let's say this will be about let me go to the Excel file. Let's look at the customer demographics, right? Cool. And once we do that, let's open that file. Only thing what we have to do here is just delete all these rows because those are not required. Perfect. And here I'm going to have the same, but just the sheet name will be different. So I'm just going to copy this. So I'll copy this, go back to, and change the name. I'll also change this to demo because we are looking at the customer demographics. Okay, so we have 4,000 rows, so basically almost around 4,000 customers. Showed me an error because the name is different. With this info, I will be able to see if there are null values. So we have null values in the last name, date of birth, job title, default and tenure, and those categories. Date of birth, again, it is date time, so that is good. Custom ID, integer, object. This is a string, this is an integer, string, and tenure is floating values at the last, so which looks good. Another thing that I'm going to do is just do a describe so that we get to know the mean, median values. Because there are only three categorical numerical values, we are only looking at customer ID, past 3 years, bike purchases, and tenure. The mean is 48. Let's see, the max is 99, and minimum is 0, obviously, and maximum is 99. It's a df demo gender value counts, and then when we see we are getting u, which u, I don't know if so, it seems to be a mistake if u was typed, and we are saying mistake in the female name, and specify column here, and we're going to write it down in because this is going to be inside customer demographics. I'm going to say that gender column has multiple values, right, like U, F, female, and let's say we are sorting by df.index. I don't know, maybe you can just do, oh sorry, that's not going to work, because it's a series, it doesn't have any sort object. What we can do is I can definitely go and search up a function that is sort okay, so there is a sort index function that we can use, and okay, so we basically do a sort index. Awesome. Okay, so we definitely see that there is these values like 1843, 1931. These are the values which only have single entries, and I feel that these should not be included into the data frame. I mean, mass customer, high net worth, affluent customer, so these are also fine. If there are values missing, it will be due to some error. There are no values that are 2, and yes, that are going to be 2 values. Okay, so those also look fine. We are not going to look at the default, but I can definitely say that that is an issue. The column default in this is and is not interpretable. Need to check that. So the column default is not interpretable. It's maybe an error that it is included. Let's check for the tenure. Now tenure is basically should be in years, that a customer has been valued has been like a loyal customer. So let's wrap this one up, and let's go to the another notebook. Okay, let's duplicate this one, and this is the one. Let's check the sheet name that we are going to change it to. So we're looking at customer address. Rename this to customer address. Okay, so that's enough. I will close the other ones because I don't need them right now. Rest of the files are these are going to be the same. I'm going to cut off the rest of the cells. Only here that will be having customer address, and I'm going to copy it from here. Copy that and just paste it over here. Okay, let's run both cells now. Okay, here it should, let's just rename it to, let's say, address, like this, and try to see. So we have 3,999 rows. That's one less than 4,000. So I think we are just missing one customer ID from here, and we'll have to see, because when we were looking at the customer demographics, and when we look through this, we are seeing that the latest customer ID is 4,000, but in the customer address we are looking and seeing that customer ID is going above 4,000. If I look at this, what I can do is I can try to find the different values that customer ID has, just to see that I made a mistake. Here it should be customer ID. Okay. Yeah, so there are 3,999 different customer IDs, but not all of these are actually associated with the customer IDs given in the customer demographics data. So there are no null values, all these are completely filled, so that is a good thing. We are looking at the integer, object, string, postcode is going to be integer, state, country, and property valuation. Now they haven't provided us the metric, or whether this is in millions or thousands, so it's kind of hard to say, but probably it could be in millions about the property valuation. Now let's go and use the describe method. These two are the columns we are not worried about in terms of this numerical statistics. Okay, let's move on to actually see each of these columns, and we have already checked the customer ID. It is full. Let's go and check the address. Hopefully the addresses will be fine. We are not going to see if they are starting with, if the structure of the address is different, it could be the case. But when we consider the address, we are not really putting a pressure on to find whether the address is exactly correct or not. Then let's go to state and check the state over there. I'm going to do value counts for this one as well, so that we know how many states are used. Now when we look at the states, we clearly see that some states are given as in their abbreviation and some are given with a full name. So let's say this is New South Wales and this is also New South Wales. This will be Victoria and this will be Queensland. I just guess so. So we see that the states need to be in one format. Either they should be just full names, or either they can be just the abbreviations of those. There are customer IDs which are not present in customer demographics data. So the IDs needs to be checked. Second one is the format of state names is inconsistent. So to me, this is very unclear. The property valuation doesn't give me much information about whether it is the actual valuation of the houses they or the property they have, and why would they want to have the data about their property. That's my next question. So I'm just going to write that down here. Property valuation is not interpretable again, just like the default column in the customer demographics. uh, why, I mean, I would not ask why this kind of data is required. It's up to them, whatever data they want to collect. But is it in millions or thousands? That would be my next question. Then we are looking for the completeness, and when we looked in this area, we found many missing values. Apart from the last table of customer addresses, there were no missing values in them. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to write an email as per the instructions given into the task 1. So if I go back, this is the task we are supposed to complete. Draft an email to the client identifying the data quality issues and strategies to mitigate these issues, right? So first of all, we have already listed out the issues that this data has, and what we're going to do now is write an email and provide some suggestions on how to mitigate these issues. Now I'm just going to use Gmail, and I find it convenient right now because I'm not using Outlook at this point of time. So I do have a Gmail account open, and here I'm just going to write down Sprocket Australia, or I can just say, not the KPMG for sure, australia.com at gmail.com maybe. Quality assessment, sorry. And I think that should be in data quality assessment. That should be enough. Then I would start with dear, especially if I'm writing to a real person, I would definitely get the name of the person who I'm supposed to write this letter to. Even though if he's a manager, I would definitely prefer to have a name. Dear Andrew, I hope you are doing well. See, this is why auto complete by Google, which is the best feature in the Gmail they have got. So I would say I hope you're doing well, and I would say I'm writing about the data quality assessment we recently completed on the data sent to us for analysis, right? And then I would say I would like to make or I would say I would like to point out some issues with the data and make some suggestions or recommendations on how to mitigate them. All right, so that's what I will have as a starter line, and then I'm just going to copy the issues that I have noted down earlier into my sticky notes and just directly paste it over here into the Gmail box. The first table was about the transactions data, and we are going to make use of these beautiful features just to make them bold as headings. Firstly, I would say, okay, there are missing values. So the product first sold date is not a date but some numbers. List price and standard cost do not serve any relevancy. Missing quantity column. Product class does not clarify what it refers to, right? But when we look it from the perspective of the dimensions that are given to us, let me go back, and this was the page. So when we look at this dimensions and try to classify those errors based on these dimensions, we can say we are having issues with the completeness of the data, right? Issues with completeness of the data, which means missing data. We can write something about if these are based on the consistency and some different dimensions. We can mention about that. We can say the data quality assessment was made on the dimensions, or we can say on the measures of consistency, accuracy, completeness, uniqueness, and data validity, etc. Say recommendations, and I would say be aware when putting the date of birth values. Second, I could say, if you are using Excel, please use or I can just say use filter options to make sure that the data is consistent. And then once the values are inputted, double check or cross check the values that are inserted. Make clear formats for each of the columns, and what you can do is that you can create restrictions or rules that will allow the data to be inserted into a certain format only. Highlight the empty cells, right? Okay, so I think we have covered most of the ways that they can improve on this. And lastly, I would say thank you for your trust. I'm not write that. Thank you. Have any questions regarding this, please do not hesitate to ask, and then I'll just say regards and your name. That's it. So that would be the whole email, and I would just like to know if you have any recommendations or something that you would like to add into this email. Please do mention it in the comments, and that would conclude the whole task one for us. into this KPMG internship program, and I'll be continuing with the task 2 and 3, which will be more into the data exploratory data analysis, and then probably into making the dashboards, which is an exciting part for everybody, right? So that's all, and maybe I hope that we get to clean the data in the next sessions, which I don't know, but if we do, that will be another great session as well. All right, looking forward to your feedback, and stay tuned for the part 2 and part 3 of this task.